Welcome guys, and today here we with the second game of Kasparov, and here it is Kasparov versus Hjorth, and the opening is Tarrasch defense, classical variation, and this is played in the World Junior Championship round 10 at Dortmund, Germany in August 1980, and the theme of this lesson is targeting the f7 square. And let's see the game, and it is d d4, d5, c4, e6, and knight after knight f3 it is c5 here. c5, the white player is Kasparov guys. c5, and this is the Tarrasch defense. Usually the Tarrasch defense it's played like in after knight c3 d5, but here this is also equally effective. Actually this opening has played a major role in Kasparov's career. He has played in both white and black with this opening during his career of World Championship. Uh, there are a number of games in the Tarrasch defense in the Kasparov's games. And now after c takes d5, this is a usual exchange at d5, and also then the d takes c5 exchange also will be taken, and black will get an isolated pawn, and white will try to gang up on the isolated pawn. For black, so in exchange, black gets a position, an open position where he can develop his pieces easily, uh, and uh, and also his king will be very safe. He'll develop his pieces quickly and easily, and also he can put his king into safety very quick. So after he takes d5, and then now g3 guys, g3, and for a century this move has been played. This plan has been regarded as the best for white to put his bishop in a fianchetto position, because to take aim at the weak d5 pawn. Okay, next knight c6, bishop g2, and then knight f6, then knight c3, and bishop e7. As a general rule, the black bishop belongs to e7 if white places the bishop at g2. This is a general rule guys. Or at d6. If the white bishop is placed in g2, then the black dark squared bishop will be in e7 or d6. And white eventually capture the bishop will recapture. So after white recaptures at c5, the bishop will remove again. Then after castles, this is the starting position of the Tarrasch. And after bishop g5, now castles, so both sides castles, and then bishop g5. Either bishop g5 is put, or after d takes c5, bishop g5 comes. So to put pressure on the d5, this move is played to put pressure on the d5 pawn. And the most common strategy. And now after bishop g5, black pushes his c pawn. This is one of the three playable options for black. The most common strategy has always been to capture at d4. It is also possible to support the center with bishop e6. So bishop e6 or c takes d4 were also other options. So then after knight e5, now knight e5, white offers an exchange of knight, but black must decline, since if knight takes e5 and after d takes e5, the pawn at d5 will be lost. Bishop e6, and naturally black defends the d pawn and can now consider the capture at e5. Therefore white usually defends e5 with the f pawn. So now if the knight is exchanged, white supports the e pawn with the f pawn, or exchanges the knight at c6. Now f4 is played by black. I am sorry, by Kasparov, by white, and it's Kasparov's move. And after f4, f4, knight takes e5, f takes e5. This probably came as a surprise, since it had never played before. This was the idea of Kasparov. The idea behind this play is that f5 will be useful for an attack, and that a pawn at d4 may be helpful too. Knight e4. Since black has superior pawn structure, exchanging pieces and heading to an endgame is a good strategy. Still, the knight should have gone to g4, as Kasparov pushes his way into an advantageous position. Bishop takes e7 and knight takes c3, and b takes c3, and then queen takes e7. Now the only strategy for available to white is to eliminate the black's pawn at d5, so that the central pawns can advance. Black will try to thrust the queenside pawns forward as quickly as possible. Now e4 and queen d7. D takes e4 and bishop takes e4 would be terrible for black. Then a4. This is a very important move, restraining black's queenside counterplay. Now black can turn his attention towards the king side. Rook f d8, and black's plan is to put both the rooks on the d and the c file. Rook f d8, and then queen h5, rook ac8, and white's next plan is to double on the f file. The a pawn will be hanging anyways, but the attack will be more important than the pawn. Now rook f4, f7 square is now seems to be well defended. So white is assembling his forces. Now after rook c7, then now rook af1, so then after that e takes d5, I'm sorry, rook af1, Okay, f1 and then queen takes a4 now. Queen takes a4. Then e takes d5. Rook takes d5. Because the black takes with the rook, because he is forced to take, because he can't lose the bishop. It is the main defender of the f7 pawn, because f7 is the cornerstone of black's position. uh, Bishop takes d5, bishop takes d5, and bishop takes d5. The idea of black is, if here material is not important for him, because his plan is to promote his queenside majority very soon enough. He's now, after bishop e6, now e6 guys. This is a surprising move. The move is only uh, to eliminate the light squared bishop. It actually, this move is for deflecting the light squared bishop. So in fact, it opens up the d5 square, so that the white pawn can chase the bishop from the key square. So after bishop takes e6, that is d5 guys, d5, and d5, d5. Now queen b5, queen b5. Here if rook c5 is put, then there is rook takes f7, bishop takes f7, bishop takes f7, there is bishop takes f7. So here if d5, and if at all black puts g6 to kick the queen, this is met by queen h4, queen h4 with the threat of queen d8 check. There is a double attack on d8. So okay, so after queen b5, rook h4 guys, rook h4 and queen c5 check, queen c5 check, and rook f2, bishop takes d5, rook d4. This move is for breaking the pin at f2 and also exploiting the pin along the 5th rank. Rook d7, now rook f5. Why can't he take with the queen here? Because of, oh, there is queen, because there is queen takes h7 threat, and after this queen takes h7 and king goes queen h8. g7, king g7, and still the f7 pawn is defended. So after rook f5, here black resigned. It is an amusing final picture with the pins on d file and 5th rank. Okay guys, I hope you have enjoyed the game. I'll meet you in the next game of Kasparov. Thank you guys, thank you.